Hello and pranam everyone to all the viewers. I have with me Shri Vijoo Krishnan sir. He is from All India Kisan Sabha. आज सर एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण दिन था. The way Supreme Court has expressed opinion, जिस तरह की टिप्पणियां सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दी है, जिस तरह के arguments हुए हैं from both the sides, and these are like very learned lawyers from both the teams playing against each other. So आज उसके ऊपर if you can throw some light, have the leaders of Kisan unions already met on this and decided something around this?
Yeah, you see, the Supreme Court has made certain significant observations, especially about the government's role being very ineffective in handling the problem. That
Correct.
is very strongly the Supreme Court has made mention about it. But as far as the organizations, all organizations, hundreds of organizations are together, we will wait for the orders, whatever the Supreme Court issues, and then we will take a decision on how to go about it. But our basic position remains that the three acts have to be repealed.
Okay.
The Electricity Act amendments should be withdrawn,
Mhm.
and there has to be concrete suggestions on the minimum support price at C2 plus 50
Okay.
as a legal right.
All right.
We are going
Absolutely.
to stick to that position.
Absolutely great, sir. However, there must be an environment of joy today, given the way Supreme Court has made remarks. I can see there must be some joy amongst so many Kisans and protesters in Delhi. You must be feeling relieved that at least the highest authority and court of the land has at least given a remark against the government in terms of their mishandling of this entire situation.
So that realization should also come in the way of asking the government to withdraw these acts, to repeal these acts. Yes, it is significant that they have made a strong observations against the government and the government's handling of this entire issue. But from the very beginning, we have been saying that it is unanimously we have been saying that these three acts have to be withdrawn. The Electricity Act amendments have to be withdrawn, and the Supreme Court is well aware of that. So just to say that we will again set up a committee, I don't know how far that we have to discuss with other organizations, and we will take a position on that. But as far as we are concerned, the struggle goes on till the repeal of these three acts.
I'll come to the struggle and about how will it unfold. However, when I say that it must be an environment of joy and happiness amongst farmers, is why, because the way the world is observing, the way this government has tried to ensure the protest doesn't go further, the way they have used power, and the way, in a way, government has tried to malign the image of farmers and protesters. Does it come as a relief to you that at least people in urban cities and people who, based on the media channels reports and government, were forming a negative image of the protest, will actually now feel not actually negative completely?
Yeah, that way I would say it is significant, the comments that the Supreme Court has made. But you should note one thing, the government has filed a counter affidavit that again gives an impression that the government is sticking to its position and claims that the Supreme Court is being misled by the farmers' organizations. This is not true. The government is mentioning that they have had widespread consultations over many years spread across different governments. But we would like to point out to them to mention who are the farmers' organizations or representatives of farmers that the government has spoken to. The Supreme Court should be clear that there has been no such discussion with farmers' organizations. It is something which has been done at the bureaucratic level or at the political level but there is no discussion with the governments, with the state governments and with the farmers' organizations.
So if I'm right, this is one question on which all the farmers and leaders have been unanimously together fighting the government, that it perhaps seems like an imaginary farmer union which has been meeting government. You all have been united about it, that you do not see any farmers meeting government. In fact, if you can recollect, Supreme Court has very clearly told government that if you claim that there are some farmers who are in support of this bill, let them come to light. Let them come and present their case in the committee. Not only that, Supreme Court has also told the government if there are farmers in favor of the bill, we have heard no such plea in the favor of the bill from the farmer.
The government is likely to now prop up some so-called farmers' organizations to bolster its own arguments.
Okay.
But you see, the All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee has around more than 250 organizations. The Samyukt Kisan Morcha, altogether maybe small and big, state or district organizations or countrywide organizations, almost 400 plus organizations are involved. So none of these organizations have been consulted with by this government.
That is true.
And,
you have been arguing a case.
From the ground, the farmers have developed two bills, which also have been placed as private member bill in the parliament. One is for assured remunerative price and another for freedom from indebtedness. So those were the demands from the grassroots by the farmers. Without any such demand, suddenly, at whose behest did the government come with these three acts?
This is what you have been maintaining a position clearly, very clearly since day one. Now I'll come quickly to the bill part. Suppose, like the Supreme Court has already given sign that either you consider not implementing the law for a couple of months and make a committee, or we will do so. That is the stance of Supreme Court today. If tomorrow it comes to that, do you think your Andolan will go in a change? If Supreme Court makes a committee by itself or requests the government, either way, will it swing the Andolan in a different direction?
See, we will cross the bridge when the time comes. Let the Supreme Court come with its clear order on it. And then we'll have to, since it's a broad issue-based unity that we have built, we need to discuss with all constituents, and after which we'll take the course of action that has to be followed. As of now, till 26th of this month, we have our campaigns planned. We have on 18th, we are observing Mahila Kisan Divas. On 13th and 14th, on Lohri and Shankranti, burning of the three acts. And 23rd, Netaji Subhash Day, to 25th, you are having in all state capitals, we'll be having sit-in, day and night sit-ins. And post the official function on 26th January, we will have Mazdoor Kisan Parade also.
I'll completely
disrupting the official functions.
I completely agree with you on that. In fact, I'll just quickly come to that question. Before that, I have a very important question to ask to you. Suppose if court decides to ask the government to take a stance on not implementing the law for a couple of months, or decides it by itself, again, my previous question, which is a situation you see favorable to yourself, that should it be left for the government to do? If government decides, okay, the law will not be implemented for a couple of months, would you like it to come from government, or if it comes from the court, which will be favorable to you?
No, I think the government has to take a call.
Because you have been maintaining a stand that you do not idly want court to be involved, because it is government which has been making the law.
Yeah, it is the government which has made the law. And government has to address this issue also. And we have been saying that it is not the question of holding on the act in abeyance for a few months. It is a clear assurance that it will be repealed. That is what we want. And then let them consult with all farmers organizations. Let them consult with the state governments, because this also comes under the federal rights of the states are also being violated. Let them have widespread consultation and then come to a consensus. Then let them think of bringing a new acts according to that.
However, will it be safe to say that Kisans, farmers, and you leaders would rather like such a decision to come from the government, because then you can continue your protest? However, if it comes from Supreme Court, it acts as binding, and it comes as a disrespect to not committing to what or obeying what Supreme Court suggests. Would you actually want it to come from the government? However, would government try and ensure it comes from the court and not from the government?
And the government surely is trying to find a way out of this by putting it on the Supreme Court to decide on this. I think it is the government which has to take a call on this. They have not gone in for these acts without any consultation with farmers' organization, with state governments presently. To say that from 2000 onwards it has been discussed and suddenly during the lockdown bring this in a lockdown condition, that itself actually points to some kind of ulterior motives. Why is the government hiding? So I think it's the government which has to take a call on the whether the Supreme Court comes with a position. I think that we will wait, like I told earlier, let the Supreme Court come with its order, then we'll discuss with all other organizations, and then we'll take a call, because they have made some comments. Surely they have made comments. It is indicting the government's role. It is questioning the government's role so far. Let us see what they are coming with as an order.
But the way I can see, government will try its best that it comes from court so that it acts kind of binding on you and you're put in a difficult spot. However, now moving on from there, today Supreme Court has also expressed concerns about the way the protest is. And also, do you think yesterday's incident with the Manolal Khattar's address, which could not happen, has it some way tarnish the image of the entire program, the entire protest, because Supreme Court has expressed concern, even citing the example of Satyagraha?
So you see, as far as the protests are concerned, from the very beginning, the farmers have maintained a very peaceful protest. There has been extreme provocation, and you just see a government digging up huge trenches using JCB and all that on the national highway.
But that was not the case yesterday, Mr. Krishnan. That was not the case yesterday.
No, yesterday the farmers were protesting. Yes, it was a black flag protest there. Farmers were protesting, and also the role of the government there, role of the police in provoking, whether that is there, that is something to be looked into. We, as organizations of the farmers, we have very clearly asked all people who are involved to maintain a peaceful protest, march ahead also if it is in a peaceful manner. That is what we have taken. That is
definitely. Everybody agrees with you on that. Your protest has been completely peaceful so far. However, exactly was my question, that has yesterday's incident some way tarnished the image, one, and will it give any kind of a cue for Supreme Court to take consideration? Why? My next question, because Supreme Court has also been requested by the councils that on 26 January, if farmers think of coming to the city, to Delhi, it can be a concern. However, Mr. Dave has advocated for you, and he has very clearly, very confidently conveyed to Supreme Court that farmers do not have any intention of disrupting the parade on 26 January. So do you think this is exactly the position of the farmers, that whatever protest you continue, you would not disturb the 26 January parade?
No, we are not at all going to disrupt the parade. We have very clearly mentioned that it is not
so that means you are sending a very clear message to the nation that even if government is trying to communicate that farmers might disrupt the parade, you are sending a very clear message to the countrymen, to the nation, that you have no such idea and you definitely will not.
Absolutely. The government is desperate. When initial days they claimed it was the Khalistanis who were out on protests, then they claimed it is the Tukde gang. Then they said it is the Pakistanis and Chinese who are behind it. Then they have been giving different motives for these protests and claiming that it is backed by different vested interests. Very clearly, none of that has held. People are not willing to accept these kind of canards which is being spread by the government. So the government is trying to use these kind of things. Even today, again and again, they are saying that the Republic Day is there, and post-Republic Day, the beating retreat is there. That also there is the rehearsal for the Republic Day and so on. We have very clearly mentioned we are not going to disrupt the official function. It is only post that we will have our parade. It will be a Kisan Mazdoor parade, very clearly maintaining the peace and decorum of required for that day.
So if I'm right, you're assuring the country, you're assuring the nation in India and the world that even if Indian government at center is trying to communicate and build an environment of fear, that farmers might disrupt 26th January and cause an environment of something wrong or wrongdoing or something happening, you assure the country that farmers will not resort to any such measure. You have complete respect towards it. And Mr. Dave has also argued that majority of the farmers in Punjab and Haryana across the country, their children, their sons are on these different borders across the country. They are rather a part of this biggest service. They are the biggest servicemen. So that means you're assuring that farmers are not going to cause any situation on 26th January. Rather,
so far,
hold it very important.
So far, the farmers have not caused any such situation.
Absolutely.
And
but the government is making an environment of fear.
No, they are trying to create an environment of fear, but their game is seen through by the people, because it is they who dug up the national highway using JCBs. Big trenches were dug up, shipping containers put up, and many ways to try and block the farmers from coming. Farmers were only saying, we are going to peacefully march to Delhi. Listen to us. That was what the farmers had told. And there have been peaceful protests earlier. If you look at the Nirbhaya incident and the protests that happened after that, and it has been quite peaceful. The farmers today are people who have been saying that the need to protect the constitution. They have again and again affirmed their faith in the constitution. It is those who are in the government who are repeatedly attacking the tenets of the constitution. Even here in this act also, I told you earlier that the federal rights of states are being violated. So it is the government which is trying to rake up these kind of and create a sense that there is going to be an environment of fear. We have been sitting in different borders of Delhi, and nowhere has been such a reaction. The people around have been coming forward in support of the farmers.
Coming to my last two questions, I know you have pressing commitments today again, even though it's really toward the end of the day, but this is a very long day for you today. Mr. Prashant Bhushan suggested that we will have a consultation with the client, with the party, with the farmer leaders. Have they reached out to you? The three lawyers representing you, have they already reached out to you? Is the discussion in progress right now as we speak?
Yeah, there has been some consultation with the leadership. Also, wider consultations are required. Since I told you, it is a unique issue-based unity that we have built.
But the day is tomorrow, and we are hardly a day.
Yes, there is still the night remains. So there will be
a long night.
Yeah, and we will come with a united position again.
I'm confident. I'm confident. It has been so far a very united event. I don't see that government has been able to break any kind of the leadership. Now coming to the second last question that I have for you, if it comes to forming a committee, do you think that farmers and the government together will be able to solve it soon? Question number one. The second part of the question is, if it comes to forming the committee and you agree on that, the second part of the question is, will the protest end immediately? And the third part of the question is, some parts of this law, the three bills, some parts, can they expected to remain intact?
We say repeal the three acts and withdraw the Electricity Act, then set up a committee. Maybe there can be some scope for a discussion on what should be the way ahead.
But what you're asking for is maybe another. But what you're asking for, if I'm right, is almost the same situation once again. Government has majority in Lok Sabha. That is how it could get the bill through. However, my larger concern has been, and I've been asking this question to a lot of people, maybe once again to you, how did it get through in Rajya Sabha? Government does not have that kind of majority in Rajya Sabha. Do you not hold the entire opposition also equally responsible for the same?
No, in the Rajya Sabha, there was objection. There was statutory resolutions which were sought to be moved by the MPs, but it was not allowed. It was literally pushed through. And those MPs who raised in a democratic manner, they were suspended. 8 MPs were suspended. Their right to move statutory resolutions was denied. There was no proper voting. It was just a voice vote taken.
The drama has been seen by the country. However, do you still not hold the opposition accountable? Should they have considered the idea of going to the chairman of the House, vice president, or even president, and putting up a complaint, putting up in writing that how wrongly has this been done? Why
No,
have you not
I
been
think
allowing the opposition parties which are in favor of you,
see, I
allowing
think
them to come with you?
I think the opposition parties, to give them their due, they have tried to exhaust all the democratic avenues available to them.
Okay.
The government was not willing to. They were in a hurry to pass it within that session. If they wanted it was brought in June. The ordinance was brought in June. There was enough time for discussion. What was the hurry to pass it?
But do you not see, or are you really hopeful, even if the laws are repealed, government will not resort to any such drama once again, or will not be able to push its way through?
No, the government has made promises from 2014, has betrayed. That is there. We on the ground with this the unity that we have built, the issue-based unity. We have hundreds of organizations have different positions on different issues, but on this issue that these three acts are anti-farmer, it is to facilitate corporate loot. We are united, so that has to be repealed. We are united on the fact that the Electricity Act amendments are going to lead to higher irrigation costs, higher costs for the farmers and common people, and that has to be withdrawn. The privatization of electricity, that has to be withdrawn. That we are quite, all organizations are clear on that. On the MSP, that C2 plus 50 has to be a legal right. There is a unanimity on that. So then that is something which they are unable to break so far. This unity that we have built around these issues, despite all canards, despite all kinds of enticements and different other things they have been trying, they have not been able to do away with it.
You're not interested in any committee. You will stick to your stand of law being repealed. And
yeah,
the other thing is
we
that
want the repeal. We are clear. These acts are against the millions of farmers of our country, against the workers, against the consumers. We want the consumers, all the working class, the middle class, who are also dependent on the farmers, to come out in support. It's not a fight only of the farmers. It is a
Of course, I know about it. So I'll ask you that question again very quickly. I'll put the question to you in a different way. However, first that if I'm able to count on my fingers, today's the quick takeaways from Mr. Vijoo Krishnan are that farmers are not in for disrupting any parade. You stick your stand. You're sticking to the stand of law being repealed. And if it comes to forming the committee, it perhaps will be unanimously decided by the farmer unions. You have yet not made any decision on that. My last question to you. My last question to you, Mr. Krishnan, I'm really sorry, we are running a little ahead of time. My last question to you is that do you see unanimously all the farmer leaders coming together and accepting what Supreme Court tells you to do tomorrow? And in the light of that, if it comes to forming the committee, which seems very, very evident, it's right in front of you, then would you end the protest?
See, I would take that call only once the Supreme Court comes with its orders. Ending a protest will only happen if these acts are repealed, or clear indication that those acts will be repealed. It cannot just happen if there is a committee set up. This is something which has been proposed from beginning. This is my gut reaction, and it requires me to discuss with other organizations to come and place the opinion, a unified opinion.
Because I think very important points that, if I am right, Mr. Krishnan, very important pointers that you're giving to the country today, in the light, in this scenario that Supreme Court has made its remarks today, are that you are not in for disrupting any Republic Day parade. You are committing to country that Republic Day parade disruption is not your idea. You respect Republic Day, and farmers will not cause any kind of problem in Delhi in 26. You are committing to the country of
we have time and again reiterated that our protest is going to be peaceful. There is absolutely no intention to disrupt the Republic Day function. That is very we are very clear.
This fear is baseless. This fear is baseless, and
it is baseless. It is a concoction of the ruling government, the BJP government.
All right. And the other very important stand that you're making. And now I have my last question to you. What message do you give to the countrymen when you say it is everybody's fight? Why do you think it is everybody's fight? What do you think will be the long-term repercussions? Or why should people really come forward who are not Kisans, who are not farmers, who live in urban class environment? Why city people
The
should come forward and support you?
the three acts are part of a package, and these are some things which have been a continuous pressure on us in the World Trade Organization by countries like United States and the European Union to withdraw subsidies for agriculture, food subsidies, and withdraw from public stockholding. So the Shantakumar Commission has articulated these very demands of in the WTO as its recommendations to privatize the Food Corporation of India, to withdraw the any state giving bonus over and above the MSP, not to procure from those states, and also cut the subsidies for food security and so on. So it is against that. It is the APMC markets, the regulated markets, tried to provide a level playing field for the farmers. Now the government is saying the big companies, whether it is the Adanis or Ambanis or the Walmarts or Pepsis and other such companies, will give better price to farmers. This is not at all going to happen. That is not our experience. We have innumerable cases
However,
in
how do
India
you
and
see
abroad which we
how
can
do
quote.
you see it impacting the lives of urban people? Why do you see
Yes, in
people
the
like
essential
city
the
people,
change to
people
the
in
essential
Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai should support you? Why?
the changes to the Essential Commodity Act, what does it entail? That rice, wheat, different pulses, oil seeds, potato, onion, and such crops are no longer going to be literally essential that way.
No capping on them.
And there could be unlimited storage. These companies would have huge storage facilities. So whatever their installed capacity, even during an emergency, even during a war, even during a famine or big scarcity of food, the installed capacity cannot be tampered with. The government only says that there can be, if there is a 50% increase in the price of the perishable goods, non-perishable goods, and 100% rise in the perishable goods or horticultural goods, then the government will intervene. So what is going to happen? This is literally a blank check to promote hoarding, corporate hoarding, and black marketing. It is going to lead to price rise for all these essential commodities for all of you.
So much. I'm sorry, but I cannot help. I need another minute of yours because I cannot end this without asking a very important political question. Do we people see any implication in Bengal? Will this protest have impact on Bengal elections? No, you have to answer this question with a lot of honesty. You are one leader who definitely can answer this question with utmost honesty.
No, it will surely have an impact on the people will register their protest against the government's position on this. No doubt about it.
However, can we also expect soon any farmer leaders from here who would be a part of any tickets, who would be contesting elections themselves soon? Can we see any rise of leaders and political figures here?
No, I don't see this as some step for
Andolans have done it so
political.
far, from JP to Anna Andolan. People have
No,
witnessed
could be.
leaders
But
coming
I
out from
think I,
Andolans.
I think the intervention here is a genuine intervention on the life and death questions of farmers. Whether some people are associated with political organizations and they benefit because of a position taken, that is a different matter. Here, the farmers' organizations are only making a genuine intervention on the life and death issues of farmers as well as the interests of our country.
All right,
I
thank you
think
so
that
much.
is.
I'm not completely satisfied with that answer, though. I still see a big scope there. However, I take your word on that. You have the right to have the right last word. Thank you so much.